I figured I'd do something a little bit different, and I will tell you guys, share with you guys my thoughts on why people pick different archetypes. This is from the heart. It's a little bit objective, a little bit subjective. I did some research for this. I have some things to show you also. And we're gonna start with the grappler. Speaking of heavyweights, we're gonna start with the grappler. Some people really fucking like grapplers, all right? Why do people play grapplers? This is what the video is gonna be. Why do people play grapplers? So first, we must begin with what is a grappler and what am I going to be talking about in this video. So you guys might be thinking it's going to be the guy who beats you by grabbing, right? Which is true, but there are a lot of characters in fighting games and video games that beat you by grabbing you. So we do have the traditional grapplers, right? So we have like Zangief. This is the granddaddy of them all, the original. We do have Potemkin and his various versions, right? This is Potemkin loving himself, basically, right? And we also have Blaze Blue, Tager, there he is. Also a traditional grappler here. What do these three all have in common besides massive chest muscles and grabs? They can't move a lot, they do a ton of damage, you know, they got all that stuff in mind. These characters, probably, you might have thought of at least like two of them. Potemkin was already on the screen, right? What are characters that are grapplers, but they're not traditional grapplers? Here's one. Kohaku from Melty Blood. The character that won me my first big tournament in my entire life. My first accomplishment in gaming ever is thanks to this character. She really doesn't look like Tager at all. She is a small anime girl who is a maid and has a broom, but her command grab leads into an unblockable loop in the version that I played. That shit was really cheap. We'll talk about it sometime. Another one, someone in the stream did call it. Good old buddy Soul. There he is. Here's another example, right? Not necessarily a traditional grappler. So we are talking about traditional. And this is going to be a common theme, but we got to start with aesthetics. We have to start with the aesthetics. Your character in a fighting game does reflect a little bit of you. Even if you're like me and you try to always pick good characters, and some people are out here always trying to pick cheap characters. They want to always play top tier. So for example, a lot of Kid Buu players in Dragon Ball, they play Ramathal. This is not a coincidence. Maybe some of them also like girls that are brown. Much respect to you, but also Ramathal is a very good character. And Kid Buu was unnerfable for about like 2.5, 3 years. Your character does reflect something about you in the game. What does this say about traditional grapplers? Okay, right? Remember, traditional grapplers, they always got a few things in common. Big muscles, look strong, big heavy swings, grabbing you in various violent ways. Broly grabs you with one hand like this, right? Even bigger dopamine for people. Look at this. If this doesn't exude strength and power, he's using his jets to go to the heavens and bring you down and do some amount of damage to you. That's not some amount of damage. That's a lot of damage. He looks strong. Even his moves. He doesn't move fast, which sucks in the game, but it's there to make him look big and heavy. Look at this. Big, strong, long range, right? It's all these things. I think that's where you gotta start. Like, it's the aesthetic. People like big, strong, boom, flex. Makes sense. So reason number 2 is we have to look at a concept that you may or may not be familiar with, by the way. And this is about the Timmy. This is a term from Magic the Gathering. You may or may not have heard of that game. It's one of the biggest trading card games of all time. By the way, as someone who used to play trading card games, if you're into that, cool. If you're not into it, maybe don't try it. Okay, I'm not gonna talk shit about card games and how sad I was when I played card games when I was 10. If you don't know what Timmy is, it's the idea of they like a powerhouse. They like the power. They like characters who are big and strong. All the aesthetics that we talked about before. Interestingly enough, the brilliant scientists at the Magic the Gathering Research and Development Department, which is a real thing, that is pretty surprising, but that does exist. They have archetypes of players who play the game, and we have them here. So on the left, no, that's not Chris Pratt. That is Timmy, the power gamer. And then Johnny, not from Guilty Gear, Johnny, the combo player. And then me, but that's not me, but that's me. Spike, the tournament grinder, flexing, right? Flexing. And you can see the captions here, right? Like, just wait until I get my Leviathan. If you don't know about Leviathan, it's Potemkin, just big ass monster. Not easy to get out, but once you get that Potemkin on the screen, it's over. Johnny, the combo player. I mean, it's just like Johnny the character in Guilty Gear. You set up some obnoxious combo, you just meme them, but it's not easy to set up the combo. Once you get it, boom. And then Spike, the tournament grinder. I mean, if you know who I am or like who Kizzy is or any like top like well-known fighting game player, you know, we're fucking tryhards. And that sentence, that flavor text under Spike, that's me, Bigly. Just wait, I have a response. That's me, Bigly. So we're not going to talk about this, nor are we going to talk about this. Right? We are going to only talk about Timmy on the left. Timmy is your neighbor. Timmy plays Bowser in Melee. Timmy plays Donkey Kong. That's your neighbor. He sees the big cool dragon. He sees Potemkin. That's who he wants to play. Or he plays Behemoth Typhoon. He plays Guard at Impact. The damage is high. That's all he cares about. And I think that's another big factor. The third factor is going to be ease. So these characters actually, they're easy to pick up. This is a pretty interesting thing that we actually talked about in Excerpt days, is how easy they are to play versus how easy are they to win with. These are two very different things. Usually the big bodies of the game, especially if we're going to use Potemkin as like the poster boy in Guilty Gear, he's honestly pretty easy to play. Like, keep it a buck. His BNB, there you go. This is a BNB, right? This is a BNB. It does a little bit over 50% to Milia. And that's a little bit of risk though. To be fair, that's with a little bit of risk. Easy combos, relatively easy game plan. The hard part about playing Potemkin is actually doing it. Like getting in the right spot, navigating all the nonsense the other characters have, things like that. But like when you're new and you're playing with your friends and you're playing this type of character, they're easy to pick up. You do big man walk at you, big man grab, and you have a great time. And it's going to be hard for your other new friends who are picking all sorts of characters. Ram or Eno if they're horny, Axel if they like jorts, Gold Lewis if they like the cops, you know what I'm saying? Like, whatever reason they have to play those other characters, they might not be immediately accessing the strong point of the characters. Where you, as a Potemkin player, the grappler player, you will access it immediately. Even in fighting games, by the way, some people will pick the grappler who aren't playing the game seriously just because the character is easy, and that's it. Also, as on a side of ease of use, again, not ease to win, Potemkin players, don't come at me, ease of use is often these characters have moves to help compensate for the lack of movement. Because again, we're talking about traditional grapplers. They usually don't move around the screen very well. So in this case, we have like Hammerfall. This has armor. This is off the ground frame 3, and this is plus, right? This is off the ground frame 3 also. So it's like a nice thing. He can like press to get out of pressure. There it is. Okay, Slidehead has armor now. So he has a bunch of moves that have armor on it as well. So he can move through things, absorb things. He has a flick, which gets the input. There it is. So he could like reflect projectiles. He has a bunch of stuff to help him that are all like pretty straightforward of this is how you do it. The fourth reason I want to talk about, the dopamine hit of playing a grappler. I understand this too. As someone who plays a bullshit ass grappler, half Mukaku, the dopamine hit of hitting the grab. Let me explain this. This is a long play one. This is not you're new to the game by any stretch. This is you've played fighting games for a while. So I play Milia, right? I use a mix-up situation that's incredibly strong, mostly unreactable, and you guys have all seen it, right? Where you go like low, or like you do a cross-up, or you could do like a double high by going like cross-up and delay high, or like you have all these variations of things, right? While it feels good to put the opponent in this sequence, my big like dopamine hits in the game usually come from like neutral stuff, like my opponent whiffing something, I just slide in, or like my opponent has like these big moves that they're flinging at me, I'm just like barely sliding by like I'm Keanu Reeves from The Matrix, and I just like get through, and then I get the situation, I'm like, haha, got him, I got him in my trap. Grapplers, they have a very, very direct win condition, is when they get next to you, they have a pretty simple guessing game. They either poke you or they throw you. There's various ways they can get that poke to hit, but the only way they get the throw to hit, the only singular way, is if you're blocking. So when they get this and it hits, the dopamine explodes in their brain. They're like, I knew they were only going to block, and I grabbed them. Maybe there are going to be grappler players who come at me for this, but again, I did, not a traditional grappler, but there she is. That's a grappler. Believe it or not, that's a fucking grappler. And I know exactly the feel of grabbing someone when you know that they're not doing anything. You believe you know, right? How many times have you seen me play Milia, right? Where I do something, here's a lazy example. I don't do this too much, but here's a lazy example, right? Let's say I do throw, H just shoot, and I go like that, and it hits. And then you hear me say it on camera. I'm like, who blocks that, right? Who blocks that for real, right? And that's why I'm not like feeling myself or popping off at that mix-up. Where when I grab somebody with, especially like, let's say I played Broly. When I grab somebody without an assist, or when Lady Kohaku here grabs you with her boxing glove, and tops you up, you knew they were only blocking and not doing anything else. They were not pressing a button. They were not jumping. They were not DPing, except for Guilty Gear Strive. They're not bursting. They're not backdashing. They're not doing a super. They're not hitting your hand. They're not on the phone. Like, they're just blocking. That's it. And like, I can't stress the ping of dopamine, how good that feels when you hit that. It happens every time. And then we have the last reason, and it's probably like the most wholesome reason why people like to play traditional, again, emphasis on traditional grapplers, the challenge of it. The truest form of Timmy, and you're just starting the game, and you see big robot man with big hands Potemkin, right? And you get in there, it's easy, it's good, right? Remember what I said before about ease of use versus ease of victory, like how easy it is to win into character. It's not typically easy to win with characters like this or like this. It's not easy to win these characters because they're not like the only characters that have strong stuff, and they have to get in because they can't move. A lot of people who play grapplers at a high level, they have told me personally that they're like, yeah, you know, like it's tough to get like zoned out by Hadouken or like new 13 swords and stuff, but then like I feel like when I make it, it's like I earned that, and then once I'm there, I get to play the game that's fun, and they just really truly enjoy the challenge of it. Like that part, the challenge of it all is usually like the last reason I found that people have played grapplers. What do you guys think? Any questions?